And on your screen is our second guest of the morning on this Friday, the 17th of September. David Limbaugh returns to C-SPAN this morning. His latest book is called Crimes Against Liberty, an Indictment of President Barack Obama. And as we start our discussion here, for an author, this is happy news. Let me show you the latest nonfiction bestseller list. New York Times has the book in the #1 spot this week, in its second week on the list. The Wall Street Journal's nonfiction list, it is in the #2 position. And the combined list of fiction and nonfiction books at USA Today, he is number 28, moving up from number 30 last week. Why is your book selling so well?
I think it's resonating. The people of America are very scared about what's going on, about the bankrupting spending that the federal government is doing, and the destruction of our liberties and the assaults on individual liberties and the assaults on the states, the war against the states, how President Obama has undermined our national security, reversed our position in the war on terror. He just really doesn't stand for the same things that grassroots Americans stand for, which is why they have risen up spontaneously throughout the country and protested in a peaceable fashion. This is not just about the economy. It's not just about the fact that there's a lot of unemployment. It's about what he's doing, what he's threatening to do. Nationalizing health care, cap and trade, immigration reform. All these are radical measures, unlike we've ever seen in the history of our country. It's not just a pendulum swing, like you have Republicans for a while, then you go back and have Democrats. We've seen unmasked, unbridled, unchecked liberalism for the first time in a long time. They've got both branches of Congress, both political branches, both chambers of Congress, the White House, and they are doing things that are horrifying people. That's my position. And I think you see that out in the country.
Unbridled liberalism is not a crime, however. And
no.
You are a lawyer, and
Yes.
The title is Crimes, and the subtitle Indictment, words that have
You've caught me.
Particular meaning to a lawyer. So are you calling, in fact, for an impeachment?
Not at all. No, crimes against liberty is more of a figurative sense. I'm not suggesting that he's committed crimes under the criminal code or high crimes and misdemeanors so as to constitute impeachable offenses. And I'm not even calling for his impeachment. I don't want to go that route, nor do I suggest it in the book, because if for no other reason, I think it would be counterproductive. It would backfire. There'd be a backlash. He would become a victim, and we'd lose sight of the big issues, the substantive issues that we need to focus on and turn around peaceably, electorally in November of this year and then again in 2012. But I do suggest and stand by the position that he's abused his power, that he's ignored the Constitution, that he's acted dictatorially, tyrannically, he's acted like a bully, he's not been honest with the American people, and he's knowingly governing against their will. And I chronicle it in almost 400 pages, and I have almost 100 pages of footnotes, and I don't think that there's a lot of opinion in there. And I think when people see the cumulative effect of this evidence that I've amassed, they are pretty alarmed. And they remember a lot of it, but some of it they don't remember, but they cannot believe that it's as much evidence as it is, because I don't think our minds have the capacity to retain all that and deal with it.
One of the reviews that I read of your book last night, which was on a liberal blog, obviously not a favorable view, but I remember it concluded this way. It was that this book is a window into what people can expect if the Republicans take control of the House, that in fact there will be lots of investigations into the administration.
Well, there might be. Darrell S. has talked about that. That's not really where I want to go. I'm saying that outright. What Obama has done could warrant investigations. And that's fine if they want to do that. I just want them to undo the disastrous agenda that he's implemented, such as Obamacare. If they can unfund it, defund it, if they can roll back some of his outrageous spending that he's incorporated. A lot of the things he's done are under the radar. For example, in the stimulus bill, he snuck in a reversal of welfare reform. Bill Clinton had to be dragged kicking and screaming to sign welfare reform. He finally signed it on the third time and then later took credit for it as if he authored it. And so it was largely considered a bipartisan triumph because we saw poverty being reduced, minority especially, illegitimacy being reduced, and everybody agreed. So Obama sticks this provision in to reverse welfare reform in the stimulus bill. What does that have to do with the stimulus bill? So he reverses it, and people don't know about it. Now, why? Why would you do that when blacks are being improved demonstrably, empirically? The evidence, the data's there. Nobody can dispute it. But I think he's got this desire, this socialistic instinct to create and perpetuate a dependency class. And he doesn't feel comfortable with people being self-reliant.
Home for you has been Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Now, what's the economy like there these days?
Well, I mean, it's anywhere like anywhere else. It's ups and downs. And some businesses are doing well, others aren't. But we've got unemployment like everyone else does. I doubt if we're as hard hit as some other areas. But as soon as I say that, I'll get some hate mail from my fellow Cape Girardeans. But I really don't know. It's probably pretty much representative of the rest of the country.
What do you think is the most effective way to stimulate job growth in this country?
I think that's the whole point about this. This isn't rocket science. If Republicans, conservatives are not extremists. Tea partiers are not extremists. They want to restore the American ideal. They want to restore sound tax policy, reduce taxes. By the way, Bush's tax cuts, Reagan's tax cuts, were not taxes for the wealthy. Democrats know that. Why can't they tell the truth? They were across-the-board tax cuts, in fact, skewed in favor of the lower and middle-income tax groups. The higher income earners pay a greater percentage of taxes. And we know that almost half of the people don't pay income taxes. So the idea that the wealthy are getting a benefit when they pay like 60% of all the revenues, and the top 10% pay in the 90%. But what we want to do is reduce taxes across the board, and that will stimulate growth. And I would go even further than the Bush tax cuts. We didn't go far enough. And I think it would generate growth, expand the pie, and radically reduce spending. I mean, Obama had a Band-Aid ruse freeze on spending of some 13% of the whole budget. It was a joke. It was just a sop to those of us who are complaining about the spending. He had no intention of really cutting spending, and I think we need radical entitlement reform. And when we tried that, when Bush tried it, Democrats demagogued the issue, even though Al Gore and Bill Clinton had said it was a crisis and we needed to put it in a lockbox. We've always robbed from the Social Security Fund. It's never been set aside so that people's retirement funds are in check. We need to have radical entitlement reform, reduction in taxes across the board, and reduction in spending. It won't work. You can't just reduce taxes and not reduce spending at this point.
Well, we've got lots of people wanting to talk to you, so let's get to viewer calls with Greenville, Mississippi, Dolores being first. You're on the Democrats line. Go ahead, please, Dolores.
Good morning. I am upset and I am appalled at adult people that deliberately sit and tell lies. I've heard the story that lawyers are liars. But I'm sitting here listening and I am very upset. We want to blame Obama for everything that's going wrong in this country. And I'm sorry, but he's not the reason that this economy is in the tank.
When is he going to take accountability for what he's done? This is part of his narcissism.
It did not take.
He blamed Bush. He said if he passed the stimulus bill, unemployment would not exceed 8%. It went above 10. Now it's been hovering between 9 and 10 ever since. And in his economic guide the other day said it might be 10 years before we get out of this. It didn't take Ronald Reagan 10 years to get us out of a recession. It took a couple of years at the most. And had they not stalled in Congress with him to pass that bill, it would have happened earlier. And I'm not lying about Obama. I welcome you to check the book Crimes Against Liberty and point out a lie that I've told.
Dolores, why don't you respond, and then we'll go on to another caller. Dolores, are you there? No, we lost
Yes,
her.
I am here, and I do not agree with Mr. Limbaugh. And I live in this country, and I see what's going on. And the Republicans, you make America look horrible.
Well, our own president constantly badmouths President Bush. He complains about being treated like a dog, and yet he's treated President Bush like a dog for 3 years and did it in the very speech where he complained that he was being treated like a dog. I'm not treating anyone like a dog. I am pointing out what President Obama has said and how it is at variance with what he's done, how he's ruled against the will of the people on purpose, how he's spending us into bankruptcy, how our very children will not be able to enjoy the same types of liberties and prosperity that we've enjoyed, and not the same secure nation because of his policies, and they have to be reversed.